Hello folks, it's me again, Amanda Anderman, your trusty tour guide in the wonders of the wonderful city, also known as Rio de Janeiro. We're going to be talking about General Osório, which, might I add, is a very much highlighted general in terms of receiving homages and all of that in the history of Brazil, and you'll see it along this video. But before I get right on to the theme of the video, I have to remind you that I'm currently offering walking tours through the city of Rio, and all of them are described on my website, which the link will be in the description box below, as well as in the first fixed comment. So all you have to do is click there, text me via WhatsApp, that's very important, make your reservations, and let's get to know the city of Rio in person, folks! With me, Amanda Anderman, your trusty tour guide, of course. So now, without further ado, let's get right on to the theme of the video. Very likely, when you're in Rio, you will see his name quite a bit. The very first subway station of the neighborhood of Ipanema has his name on it. And as a matter of fact, a lot of tourists would end up asking me who was General Osório simply because they asked for directions or how to get to a certain place in Ipanema, and I would have to say, you get off the subway in the station General Osório, and then they would ask,
General Osório, who was he?
And not only that, before the station, his name was also the name of the square where this station's main exit is. No wonder this station was named like this. Furthermore, a statue of him was built in the 15th of November square, and it's a statue of him mounting on a horse. So when you're here, you'll be able to see this statue if you like, because it is very well pronounced. You won't miss it, I'm sure. All you have to do is be on the 15th of November square and look up. You'll see a statue of a man mounting on a horse. That's him. His full name was Manuel Luiz Osório. Unlike Admiral Tamandaré, he had Osório as part of his name, and he was born, get this, in 1808, the very year in which the Portuguese court came here fleeing Napoleon. Remember that I mentioned in previous videos? On that year, he was born. The links between historic facts. Just like Admiral Tamandaré, he started early in life. Military men normally get an early start in life, as I mentioned before. When he was just 14 years old, he participated in the War of the Independence of Brazil, fighting the Portuguese troops that were in the Província Cisplatina, currently Uruguay. Remember that I mentioned about this former Brazilian state, which now is Uruguay, in the video about the Paraguay War? He fought in the War of Cisplatina, that lasted between 1825 and 1828. So doing the math, if he was 14 years old in 1822, he was only 17 years old fighting this War of Cisplatina. And it was between the Empire of Brazil and the United Provinces of the Rio de la Plata, currently Argentina. The war was for the control of the Província Cisplatina, which Brazil lost control of this province. In the end, it became an independent country, which nowadays, as I said before, is Uruguay. Moving on, the highlight of his life was basically what he did in the Paraguay War, which, as I mentioned before in the video, was to fight and win the Battle of Tuiuti. As soon as the war began, he was given command of the Brazilian army, and the highlight of his contribution during the war was the Battle of Tuiuti. But this is something I did mention in the video of the War of Paraguay. I left it for this video. During this battle, there was pouring rain for 24 hours straight, and he was exposed to this rain. So being exposed to this rain led to his leg being swollen and inflamed, constantly being wet, and while being compressed with mounting boots. So he had to take off his boots immediately, because military mounting boots are normally very constraining, especially the old ones, but he couldn't take them off because his leg was so swollen. So he had to ask the other soldiers to cut his boots so that they could be removed. and he fought without boots, like barefoot.
You know what? I'll fight without him.
Out of this came a chronic inflammation in his leg, which lasted for his entire life, which was until 1879. And as a result of this chronic inflammation, he was never able to wear mounting boots again, which led to a very interesting detail about the statue that I mentioned in the community tab on my channel, and I'll leave the link in the description box below for those of you who want to check that out. With the end of the war, he was elected senator by the province of Rio Grande do Sul, and later he was nominated as Minister of War, and even he received the nobility titles of Baron of Irval in 1866 and Marquis of Irval in 1869. And finally, in 1877, so just 2 years before he died, he's one of those that basically died working, he became an army marshal. And to this day, as a matter of fact, he is revered as the patron of the Brazilian Army's cavalry. The actual patron of the Brazilian Army is the Duke of Caxias, but he wasn't left out even in that. By the way, the house where he lived until he died still stands to this day in the Riachuelo Street. For those of you who would like to check it out, but it's further down the end of the street. And also nowadays it houses the Army Museum as well as the Brazilian Academy of Philosophy. This concludes this video about General Osório, and I hope you liked the video. And if you did like the video, be sure to click that like button, then right after that, click that subscribe button, but most importantly, click multiple times on the share button so that you can share this video with as many people as you possibly can, so that each time more people may know of the wonders of the wonderful city. And as usual in this channel, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!